I was pouring my second cup of coffee that Tuesday morning when I saw it. Cream-colored paper sitting on our kitchen counter like a ghost from my past. The handwriting made my chest tighten. After 3 years, 1,095 days of complete silence, my daughter had finally reached out. My hands started trembling as I picked up the envelope. The weight felt wrong, too heavy, too official for someone who used to text me funny memes during her college lectures. But it was definitely her handwriting, those same loops and curves I'd seen on birthday cards, grocery lists, and that last angry note she'd left on her bedroom door before moving out. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments section what time it is where you're watching this.
Honey, what's wrong? My wife Lisa appeared in the doorway, still in her bathrobe, hair messy from sleep. One look at my face, and she knew. Is that? It's from Emma. The silence that followed could have cracked glass. Lisa's coffee mug slipped from her fingers, shattering against our tile floor in a burst of ceramic and caffeine. Neither of us moved to clean it up. 3 years, 3 birthdays, 3 Christmases, 3 Father's Days where her empty chair at our dining room table felt like an open wound. The fight that drove her away still played on repeat in my mind. Harsh words about her boyfriend, ultimatums I wish I could take back, and that final look of betrayal in her green eyes before she walked out our front door forever. "What does it say?" Lisa whispered, stepping closer, crunching ceramic under her slippers. My thumb traced Emma's name written in the return address corner. No last name, just Emma and a P.O. box in Phoenix. Not even her real address. Even reaching out, she was keeping her distance. The paper felt expensive between my fingers, nothing like the budget notebook paper she used to scribble on. And there was something else, a faint smell that didn't belong. Not her vanilla perfume or the lavender lotion she always used. This smelled like cigarettes. Emma had never smoked a day in her life. "Open it," Lisa urged, but her voice carried a tremor that matched my shaking hands. I slid my finger under the flap, the adhesive giving way with a soft tear that sounded unnaturally loud in our silent kitchen. Inside was a single sheet of that same cream paper, folded once. Emma's handwriting filled the page in neat, careful lines. Too neat, too careful for the daughter who used to leave sticky notes with smiley faces on my laptop. I unfolded it slowly, Lisa reading over my shoulder, her breath warm against my neck. The first line hit me like a punch to the gut. "Dad, you think you know why I left that night, but you don't. What I'm about to tell you will destroy everything you believe about me, about Kevin, and about the real reason I disappeared from your life." My vision blurred. Kevin. Her boyfriend's name was Tyler. Emma would never forget something like that. But it was the next line that made Lisa grasp and grab my arm so tight, her nails dug into my skin. "I need $50,000 by Friday, or everyone will learn what you did to me when I was 16.
Standing there with that letter in my hands, my mind crashed back to Thanksgiving 2021, the day I destroyed my relationship with my daughter forever. Emma had called 2 weeks earlier, her voice bubbling with excitement. "Dad, I'm bringing someone special home for Thanksgiving. His name's Tyler, and I think you'll really like him." I should have heard the nervous edge beneath her enthusiasm. When they walked through our front door that Thursday afternoon, I felt my jaw clench. Tyler looked nothing like what I had imagined for my honor roll daughter. Sleeve tattoos crawled up both arms, his dark hair hung past his shoulders, and he wore ripped jeans to our family dinner. But it was his smirk, that cocky, entitled smirk that set my teeth on edge. "So you're the famous dad," he said, gripping my hand too firmly. "Emma talks about you constantly." Lisa tried to keep things light, asking about his major, his family, his plans after graduation. But Tyler's answers were short, dismissive. When she asked if he wanted some appetizers, he actually rolled his eyes. "I don't really eat fancy stuff," he said, lounging back in our living room chair like he owned the place. Emma's face went red. "Tyler, please." "What? I'm just being honest." That's when something inside me snapped. During dinner, Tyler criticized Lisa's cooking, said the turkey was too dry and the stuffing needed more flavor. He kept checking his phone at the table, texting someone, while Emma desperately tried to carry conversations. When Lisa asked him to put it away, he looked at her like she'd asked him to cut off his arm. "Sorry, but my boys are waiting for me to hit 'em back." "Your boys?" I couldn't keep the disgust out of my voice. "Yeah, my crew. We got plans later." "Plans? It's Thanksgiving. You're supposed to be spending time with family." Tyler's smirk returned. "No offense, Mr. What's your name again? But this isn't exactly my scene." Emma's face crumpled. 3 months she'd been dating this guy, building him up in her mind, and he was treating our family like an inconvenience. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the floor. "You know what, Tyler? You're right. This isn't your scene. So why don't you leave?" "Dad!" Emma shot to her feet. "Stop it!" "No, Emma, I'm tired of watching this disrespectful punk treat your mother like garbage in our own home." Tyler laughed, actually laughed. Wow, dramatic much. That's when I lost it completely. "Get out! Get out of my house, right now!" "Fine by me," Tyler pushed back from the table. "Come on, Em, let's bounce." Emma looked between us, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Dad, please, just give him a chance." "It's him or us, Emma. Choose." The words hung in the air like poison. Emma's green eyes, the same eyes that used to light up when I read her bedtime stories, went cold as winter. "Then I guess I choose him." She grabbed her coat and followed Tyler out the door. Her last words still echo in my nightmares. "You'll regret this, Dad. Someday you'll realize what you just threw away." The door slammed, and they were gone, and I never saw my daughter again. The silence that followed Emma's exit didn't just fill our house, it consumed it. For the first month, Lisa kept setting Emma's place at dinner. Fork to the left, knife to the right, her favorite blue plate centered perfectly in front of the chair she'd occupied for 19 years. I'd watch my wife smooth the napkin, adjust the water glass, then catch herself and quickly clear it all away, her hands shaking. "She'll come back," Lisa would whisper, more to herself than to me. "She just needs time to cool off." But December turned to January, and January melted into spring, and that empty chair became a monument to my stupidity. Christmas morning was torture. Lisa had wrapped Emma's presents anyway, a sweater from her favorite boutique, the latest book in a series she'd been reading, earrings that matched her eyes. They sat under our tree like accusations, bright paper mocking us with possibilities that would never come. I tried calling on New Year's Eve, straight to voicemail. Her voice, recorded years ago, chirped, "Hey, it's Emma. Leave me something good." The beep felt like a knife to my chest. Valentine's Day, I sent flowers to her dorm. They came back the next week with a note, "Return to sender, recipient refused delivery." Her 20th birthday in March broke something inside Lisa. She'd baked Emma's favorite chocolate cake, lit 20 candles, and sat at our kitchen table crying until the wax pooled on the frosting. I found her there at midnight, still staring at those dead flames. "She's never coming back, is she?" Lisa asked, mascara streaking her cheeks. I couldn't answer, because I was afraid she was right. By summer, the silence had wedged itself between Lisa and me, too. She'd catch me staring at Emma's senior photo on the mantel and shake her head with disgust. "You did this! Your pride, your stubbornness!" She wasn't wrong. At 2 a.m., I'd lie awake replaying that night over and over. Maybe Tyler was just nervous. Maybe he was trying too hard to impress me and it came out wrong. Maybe my daughter was happy, and I destroyed that happiness because he didn't fit my narrow idea of what her boyfriend should look like. I sent a birthday card for her 21st. It came back unopened, refused, stamped in red ink across my handwriting. That stamp felt personal, like Emma herself had driven it into the envelope. Thanksgiving 2022 was a funeral. Lisa cooked a small turkey, no stuffing, no sides. We ate in silence, the ghost of that awful night sitting between us. I kept expecting Emma to walk through the door, to forgive me, to give me the chance I didn't deserve. She never did. By year 2, Lisa stopped mentioning Emma's name. We moved through our days like strangers sharing a house, both carrying the weight of what I'd broken, but afraid to discuss it. The laughter that used to fill our home died with Emma's absence. I started driving past her old apartment complex sometimes, hoping to catch a glimpse of her car or her face, any sign she was okay. The parking lot stayed empty of answers. Her graduation ceremony was the worst. I sat in the campus parking lot for 3 hours watching families celebrate with their daughters, wondering if Emma was somewhere inside that auditorium, walking across a stage I'd never see. 3 years of holidays without her voice. 3 years of silence where her laughter used to be. 3 years of knowing I'd traded my daughter's love for my wounded pride. And now, holding this letter with its impossible demands and wrong boyfriend's name, I realized the nightmare was just beginning.
Standing in my kitchen with that letter in my trembling hands, something felt horribly wrong. The envelope itself was my first clue. Emma had always been a bargain shopper, store-brand everything, generic notebooks, cheap pens that barely worked, but this paper felt expensive, thick between my fingers like the kind of stationery wealthy people used for wedding invitations. The cream color was too rich, too sophisticated for my daughter who lived on ramen noodles and discount coffee. I turned the envelope over, studying it like evidence at a crime scene. The return address was printed in block letters, Emma, P.O. Box 1247, Phoenix, AZ. But Emma had never lived in Phoenix. Last I'd heard through mutual friends, she was still in Colorado, working at a veterinary clinic outside Denver. Then there was the handwriting itself. At first glance, yes, it looked like Emma's. The same slanted letters, the same way she dotted her I's with little circles instead of dots. But as I studied it closer, my stomach churned. This handwriting was too perfect, too controlled. Emma's real writing had a rushed, carefree quality. Letters that bumped into each other, words that slanted upward when she got excited. This looked like someone had practiced writing like Emma. "What's wrong?" Lisa whispered, still standing beside me, her face pale. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "The handwriting," I muttered, holding the envelope closer to the window light. "Something's off." I unfolded the letter again, my eyes scanning past the demand for $50,000 to focus on the writing style. Emma had always been casual in her language. "Hey, Dad, love ya, TTYL." But this letter was formal, almost businesslike. Words like "furthermore" and "you will comply" didn't belong in my daughter's vocabulary. And then I saw it, the word that made my blood run cold. Buried in the third paragraph, nestled between accusations and threats. "Unless you understand the severity of this blackmail situation." Blackmail. The word jumped off the page like it was written in fire. Emma would never use that word. She'd call it being shady, or sketchy stuff, or just drama. Blackmail was a criminal's word, a word from detective shows and courtroom dramas. My daughter, who still said heck instead of hell, wouldn't write blackmail in a letter. I felt Lisa reading over my shoulder, her breathing getting faster. "Honey, what kind of trouble is she in?" But that wasn't the question burning in my mind. The question that made my hands shake as I reread each line was different, terrifying. What if Emma didn't write this at all? I studied the signature at the bottom, Emma, and noticed something that made my skin crawl. The E was too sharp, too angular. Emma had always written her E's like backwards threes, a quirk that drove her teachers crazy in elementary school. This E looked like it came from a penmanship textbook. Someone had forged my daughter's handwriting. Someone knew enough about our family drama to craft a believable threat.
Someone wanted $50,000 and was using Emma's name to get it. The real question was, where was my daughter, and did she have any idea someone was impersonating her? My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the letter when I noticed it. Scratchy handwriting at the very bottom of the page, squeezed into the margin like an afterthought. Different ink, different pressure, definitely different handwriting. She never sent this. Come alone to Riverside Park at midnight tonight if you want to see Emma again. Tell no one, or she pays the price. The words hit me like ice water in my veins. I read them again, hoping I'd misunderstood, hoping my eyes were playing tricks on me. But the message remained, scrawled in what looked like a desperate hurry. "Lisa," I whispered, my voice cracking, "look at this." She leaned closer, squinting at the cramped writing. Her face went white as she read, and I watched her hand fly to her mouth. "Oh my God! Oh my God! Someone has our daughter!" The letter slipped from my fingers, floating to the kitchen floor like a death sentence. 3 years of silence, and now this. Someone had Emma. Someone was using her name, her handwriting, our family's pain as leverage for what? Money? Revenge? My mind raced through possibilities, each one worse than the last. Had Emma gotten mixed up with dangerous people? Was this connected to Tyler somehow? Or was she just an innocent victim, grabbed by someone who knew our story and thought they could exploit a broken father's guilt? "We have to call the police," Lisa said, already reaching for her phone. "Right now. This is kidnapping." "Wait." I caught her wrist, my grip probably too tight. "The note says not to tell anyone." "I don't care what the note says. Our daughter could be—" She couldn't finish the sentence, but I heard the unspoken words. "Hurt. Dead. Gone forever. If we call the cops and Emma gets hurt because of it, I'll never forgive myself. We can't risk it." Lisa jerked her arm away, fire in her eyes. "You mean like you couldn't risk giving Tyler a second chance? Like you couldn't risk swallowing your pride 3 years ago?" The words stung because they were true. My decisions had driven Emma away, left her vulnerable, and now someone was exploiting that vulnerability. This was my fault, and we both knew it. I picked up the letter, studying that cramped handwriting again. Whoever wrote the hidden message was in a hurry, stressed, maybe even scared themselves. The ink was different, cheaper, like they'd grabbed whatever pen was closest. And the paper had an indent, like they'd pressed hard, urgent. "Riverside Park," I muttered. "Why there?" It was Emma's favorite place as a kid. Saturday mornings we'd go there together. She'd feed the ducks while I pushed her on the swings. The playground where she'd scraped her knee learning to ride a bike. The spot where I taught her to fish, where she'd caught her first bass and insisted we throw it back because it had a family too. Whoever wrote this knew our history, knew Emma well enough to pick a place that would hit me emotionally. This wasn't random, it was personal. "You're not going," she said, reading my face. "I won't lose both of you." But as I stared at that message, at the desperate scrawl that might be my only connection to Emma after 3 years of silence, I knew I didn't have a choice. Someone had my daughter, and they were using our broken relationship as a weapon. Midnight at Riverside Park, alone. The clock in our kitchen wall read 3:47 p.m. I had just over 8 hours to figure out how to get my daughter back.
While Lisa paced the kitchen like a caged animal, I found myself staring at the envelope again, searching for any detail I might have missed. That's when I saw it. The postmark, partially smudged, but clear enough to make my stomach drop. Las Vegas, Nevada, dated 3 days ago. "Lisa, come look at this." I held the envelope under our kitchen light, pointing at the faded stamp mark. "This was mailed from Vegas." She stopped pacing, her face scrunching in confusion. "Vegas? Emma's never been to Vegas. She always said she hated gambling, thought it was a wasted money." That was true. Emma had always been responsible with money, probably because she'd watched us struggle through my unemployment years ago. The idea of her throwing cash away on slot machines or poker tables was laughable. She wouldn't even buy lottery tickets. But someone in Las Vegas had mailed this letter. Someone who knew enough about our family to forge Emma's handwriting and exploit our 3-year-old wound. What if I started, then stopped, not wanting to voice the thought creeping into my mind.
What if what? What if Tyler's involved? The name hung in the air like a curse word. We'd avoided saying it for 3 years, but now it felt inevitable. Lisa's face hardened. You think that punk kidnapped our daughter? I was already moving toward my laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard. I'm going to find out. Facebook first. Tyler's profile was easy to find. Tyler Russo, still using the same smirking photo from 3 years ago. But as I scrolled through his recent posts, my blood started to boil. Pictures of him in expensive clubs, designer clothes, stacks of cash fanned out on tables, and location after location, the Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, MGM Grand. He'd been living in Las Vegas for over 2 years. Look at this, I called Lisa over, pointing at the screen. Posted 6 months ago, Vegas lifestyle baby, making bank in the desert. Lisa leaned over my shoulder, reading the posts. Making bank doing what? He was a college dropout, working at a gas station when Emma brought him home. I clicked deeper into his profile, finding older posts that made my skin crawl. Photos with different women every few weeks, all young, all blonde like Emma. Captions like, another lonely rich girl needs company, and easy money when you know how to play the game. My hands clenched into fists. He's running some kind of scam. Look at these girls. They all look like Emma. More clicking revealed Tyler's friends list, full of guys with criminal records I could find through quick Google searches. Drug dealers, con artists, one guy arrested for identity theft just last month. Then I found the post that made everything click into place. Posted just last week. Time to collect on some old debts. People think they can just cut you out and move on. Wrong move. Below it, someone had commented, You talking about that rich girl's family from Colorado? Tyler's response, 3 years of planning, brother. About to hit the jackpot. I showed Lisa the screen, watching her face go pale. He's been planning this. For 3 years, he's been planning revenge against us. But where's Emma? Is she part of this, or? I said, she's bait, the words tasting like poison. He's using her to get to us. The question is, does she know what he's doing, or is she in just as much danger as we thought? The clock read 4:23 p.m., less than 8 hours until Riverside Park.
At 11:47 p.m., I slipped out of our house like a thief in the night. Lisa had finally fallen asleep on the couch around 10, exhausted from hours of pacing and arguing. She'd begged me not to go, threatened to call the police herself, even tried to hide my car keys. But I couldn't risk it. Not when Emma's life might hang in the balance. The forged letter crinkled in my jacket pocket as I drove through empty streets toward Riverside Park. Every red light felt like an eternity. Every shadow on the sidewalk made my heart race. What if this was a trap? What if Tyler was planning to hurt me the same way he might have hurt Emma? But I had to know. After 3 years of silence, this might be my only chance to find my daughter. The park entrance loomed ahead, its iron gates standing open, like a mouth waiting to swallow me whole. I parked under a broken streetlight, the darkness seeming safer than the sickly yellow glow that might make me an easy target. Riverside Park at midnight was a different world from the cheerful playground of Emma's childhood. The duck pond that had sparkled in the sunlight now reflected nothing but black sky, its surface disturbed only by the occasional ripple from some unseen creature below. The playground equipment stood like skeletal remains in the moonlight, swings hanging motionless, the slide casting sharp shadows across the empty grass. My footsteps echoed on the concrete path as I made my way toward the old fishing pier, where Emma had caught her first bass. The sound of water lapping against the wooden posts was rhythmic, hypnotic, almost peaceful if you ignored the fact that I was walking into what could be my own execution. The benches where Lisa and I used to sit watching Emma play were empty, their green paint chipped and faded. A homeless man's shopping cart sat abandoned near the restrooms, filled with plastic bottles that rattled softly in the night breeze. 11:58 p.m. I reached the pier and stopped, my hands trembling as I pulled out my phone to check the time. The screen's blue glow felt too bright, too obvious in the darkness.
so I quickly shoved it back in my pocket. That's when I heard footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate, trying to be quiet but failing on the gravel path. I turned, my heart hammering against my ribs, and saw a figure approaching from the tree line. Tall, thin, wearing a dark hoodie that obscured their face. "You came," a voice called out, distorted and muffled. Male, definitely, but younger than I had expected. "I wasn't sure you would." "Where's Emma?" My voice came out stronger than I felt, though my knees were shaking. The figure stopped about 20 feet away, close enough that I could see the outline of his face, but not his features. He kept his hands in his hoodie pocket, and I found myself wondering what he might be hiding there. "She's safe, for now, but that depends entirely on how well you follow instructions. What do you want? The money? I can get you 50,000, but it'll take time. I need proof she's okay first." A low chuckle echoed across the water. "This isn't about money anymore. This is about justice, about making things right." The voice was familiar now, sending ice through my veins. Even 3 years later, even distorted by distance and darkness, I recognized that cocky, entitled tone. "Tyler." He pushed back his hood, revealing the same smirking face that had sat at my Thanksgiving table 3 years ago, though now it was harder, crueler, aged by whatever darkness he'd embraced in Las Vegas. "Hello again, Dad." But then his expression shifted, the smirk faltering. He glanced nervously over his shoulder before leaning closer. "Listen carefully," he whispered urgently. "Emma's in real danger. My name isn't Tyler. I'm an undercover FBI. There are people watching us right now, and if we don't play this perfectly, your daughter dies tonight."
My world tilted sideways. Tyler, or whoever this person was, stepped closer, his eyes darting between me and the shadows beyond the tree line. "FBI?" I whispered, my voice barely audible over the sound of water against the pier. "That's impossible. You were just a punk kid dating my daughter." "That was my cover," he said, pulling a badge from his hoodie pocket. Even in the dim moonlight, the eagle and shield looked authentic. Agent Marcus Chen, Financial Crimes Division. I'd been tracking a human trafficking ring operating out of Las Vegas for 2 years. The name hit me like a physical blow. Marcus Chen. Emma had mentioned that name once, months before she brought Tyler home. An old friend from high school who'd moved away, someone she'd reconnected with on social media. "You're Marcus, Emma's friend from debate team." He nodded grimly. "I needed a way into her world, into yours. The trafficking ring had been targeting families like yours, middle class, stable, with daughters who fit a specific profile. Emma wasn't Tyler's girlfriend. She was helping me build a case against him." My head spun trying to process this. "Then where is she? Why the fake letter?" Marcus glanced over his shoulder again, then pulled me further into the shadows beneath the pier. 3 weeks ago, our cover was blown. Tyler and his associates discovered Emma was working with federal agents. They grabbed her before she could get to safety. The wooden planks above us creaked in the wind, and somewhere in the distance an owl called out into the darkness. I felt like I was drowning in information that didn't make sense. "The letter was Tyler's idea," Marcus continued, his voice urgent. "He's holding Emma in a warehouse outside Vegas. The $50,000 was never the real demand. He wants something much more valuable. Your silence." "My silence about what?" "You witnessed something 3 years ago, the night of that Thanksgiving dinner. Tyler was there scouting your family, but you threw him out before he could complete his assessment. There was someone else with him that night, someone you saw but didn't realize was significant." I tried to remember that awful evening, but all I could recall was Tyler's smirk, his disrespect, Emma's tears. "I don't remember anyone else." "A woman, mid-40s, blonde, waiting in a car outside your house. She's the head of the trafficking operation, and she's been looking for ways to eliminate witnesses ever since." Something flickered in my memory. Headlights in our driveway that seemed odd. A figure I'd glimpsed through our window. At the time, I'd assumed it was a neighbor. "Why should I believe you?" The words came out harsher than I intended. "For all I know, you're part of the scheme too." Marcus reached into his other pocket, pulling out his phone. The screen showed a video call interface, and when he hit connect, my heart stopped. Emma's face appeared on the screen, older, thinner, with fear in her green eyes, but alive. She was sitting in what looked like a concrete room, fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows across her face. "Dad? Dad, is that really you?" "Emma!" I reached for the phone, but Marcus pulled it back. "We have maybe 30 seconds before they cut the feed. She's alive, but barely. Tyler's been using her as leverage to keep me in line, feeding information back to his bosses." "Then why are you telling me this? Why risk it?" Marcus's face was grim as he ended the call, Emma's image disappearing into blackness. "Because tonight, they're planning to move her. If we don't act now, you'll never see your daughter again."
I found Lisa pacing our living room at 1:30 a.m., still in her pajamas, her phone clutched in her white-knuckled grip. "Where the hell have you been?" She spun around when she heard the front door close, her eyes red and swollen from crying. "I woke up and you were gone! Gone! Do you have any idea what I thought happened to you?" The adrenaline from my meeting with Marcus was still coursing through my veins, making my hands shake as I tried to find the right words. How do you explain that everything you thought you knew about the last 3 years was a lie? I went to Riverside Park. I met with... "You what?" Lisa's voice cracked like a whip. "After everything we discussed? After I begged you not to go alone?" "Lisa, please, let me explain." "Explain?" She threw her phone onto the couch with such force it bounced off the cushions and clattered onto the hardwood floor. "Explain how you snuck out of our house like a teenager? Explain how you put yourself in danger without even telling me? Explain how you could be so selfish when our daughter's life is on the line?" Each word hit me like a physical blow. "It wasn't Tyler," I said desperately. "The person I met, his real name is Marcus Chen. He's FBI, working undercover, and Emma was—" "Stop!" Lisa held up her hand, her whole body trembling. "Just stop with the lies." "I'm not lying. Emma was helping the FBI investigate a human trafficking ring. Tyler was never her boyfriend. He was the target they were after." Lisa stared at me like I'd lost my mind. "Do you hear yourself? Human trafficking? FBI? This sounds like something out of a movie." I pulled out my phone, showing her the contact information Marcus had given me. He showed me his badge. He let me see Emma on a video call. "She's alive, Lisa. She's in danger, but she's alive." "A video call could be faked. Badges can be forged." Lisa sank onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. 23 years of marriage, and you still don't trust me enough to include me in decisions about our own daughter." The accusation hung in the air like poison gas. I sat down beside her, keeping a careful distance. "You're right. I should have told you. I should have asked you to come with me." "Yes, you should have." Her voice was muffled by her palms, but I could hear the hurt underneath the anger. "Instead, you made the same mistake you made 3 years ago. You decided you knew best. You acted alone. And look where that got us then." "This is different. Is it?" She looked up, mascara streaking her cheeks. "You gave Emma an ultimatum that drove her away. Now you're making unilateral decisions about getting her back. When does it end? When do you start trusting the people who love you?" The words cut deep because they were true. In my desperation to protect my family, I'd been shutting them out. First Emma, now Lisa. "You're right. I've been doing this all wrong." Lisa studied my face for a long moment, and I saw her anger slowly give way to exhaustion. "Tell me everything. Every detail from tonight. Don't leave anything out." So I did. The dark park, Marcus's revelation, Emma's terrified face on that phone screen, the trafficking ring, the warehouse in Las Vegas. Lisa listened without interrupting, her expression shifting from skepticism to horror to determination. When she finished, she was quiet for several minutes. "If this is real, if our daughter is really caught up in something this dangerous, then we can't handle it alone. Marcus said we can't trust local police. The trafficking ring has connections everywhere." Lisa nodded slowly, then reached for my hand. "Then we do this together. Whatever happens next, we face it as a team. No more secrets, no more going off alone." "Together," I agreed, squeezing her fingers. For the first time in 3 years, we were united in fighting for our daughter.
By dawn, Lisa and I were at Denver International Airport, boarding the first flight to Las Vegas with nothing but carry-on bags and the address Marcus had given me scrawled on a napkin. Gate A23 to McCarran, the announcement echoed through the terminal as we found our seats. Lisa gripped my hand during takeoff, and I could feel her pulse racing beneath her skin. Neither of us had slept, but adrenaline kept us sharp, focused on the impossible task ahead. During the 2-hour flight, I used the airplane Wi-Fi to dig deeper into Tyler Russo's digital footprint. What I found made my stomach turn. His Instagram showed a progression from small-time hustler to high roller, but the timeline didn't add up. 3 years ago, he'd been posting photos of beat-up cars and fast food jobs. Now, his feed was filled with private jets, penthouse suites, and stacks of cash that couldn't have come from any legitimate source. "Look at this," I whispered to Lisa, showing her a photo from 6 months ago. Tyler stood next to a black Escalade, arms around 2 young women who couldn't have been older than 20. The caption read, "New merchandise arriving weekly. Vegas never disappoints." Lisa's face went pale. Merchandise. The word hung between us like a death sentence. I scrolled further, finding comments from men whose profiles sent chills down my spine. Criminal records for trafficking, assault, kidnapping. Tyler wasn't just connected to dangerous people. He was one of them. When we landed at McCarran, the desert heat hit us like a furnace. Las Vegas in daylight looked different from the glittering fantasies shown in movies. Harsh, unforgiving, full of shadows where terrible things could hide. Our rental car's GPS led us away from the Strip, through neighborhoods that grew increasingly run down. Pawn shops, bail bondsmen, and liquor stores lined streets where palm trees looked like they were dying of thirst. "This is it," I said, pulling up to a warehouse district 20 miles from the casino lights. The address Marcus had given me led to a cluster of industrial buildings, their windows painted black, razor wire topping chain-link fences. We sat in our rental car, engine running, staring at a facility that looked like it could swallow people whole. A few other vehicles were parked nearby, expensive cars that seemed out of place in this desolate area. "What if Marcus was lying?" Lisa asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What if this is all just another trap?" I'd been wondering the same thing. The story about FBI investigations and trafficking rings seemed almost too complex to be true. But then, I remembered Emma's face on that phone screen. The terror in her eyes, the way she'd said my name like she'd been waiting 3 years to see me again. "We have to try," I said. "Even if there's only a 10% chance Marcus was telling the truth, we can't walk away." Lisa nodded, but I could see her hands shaking as she checked her phone for the 100th time. "No service out here. If something goes wrong—" "It won't," I lied, knowing we were probably walking into a situation we couldn't handle. But Emma was somewhere in this maze of concrete and steel, and I had already lost her once because of my pride. As we stepped out of the air-conditioned car into the blazing Nevada sun, I made a silent promise. Whatever Tyler and his associates had planned, whatever leverage they thought they held, I wouldn't let them use my daughter as a pawn anymore. The warehouse loomed ahead like a fortress, and somewhere inside, my daughter was waiting. As we approached the warehouse, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Loading dock. Come alone. Your wife stays in the car." Lisa grabbed my arm. "We agreed. No more going alone." But before I could respond, a second message appeared with an attachment that made my blood run cold. It was a photo of Emma, clearly taken recently, sitting in what looked like the same concrete room I'd seen during Marcus's video call. But this time, she was holding today's newspaper. "They know we're here," I whispered. A third message. "She's been trying to contact you for months. Want to see the proof?" More photos began flooding my phone, screenshots of text messages, emails, even handwritten letters, all from Emma, all addressed to me and Lisa, all dated within the last year.
Dad, I made a terrible mistake. Tyler isn't who I thought he was. Please, I need help. Mom, I tried calling, but my phone was disconnected. I'm scared. Tyler has photos, documents. He says he'll ruin our family if I contact you. I know you hate me for choosing him, but I never chose him. He tricked me. I've been trying to escape for 2 years. Message after message, each one more desperate than the last. Lisa read them over my shoulder, tears streaming down her face. Why didn't we get any of these? She whispered. The answer came in another photo. Tyler's laptop screen showing an email account that had been forwarding all of Emma's attempts to contact us directly to him. He'd been intercepting everything, emails, letters, even birthday cards she tried to send. He's been controlling all her communications, I realized, scrolling through months of evidence. She never ignored us. She's been trying to reach us this whole time. The next screenshot showed Emma's real situation. Bank statements indicating her accounts had been drained, threatening messages from Tyler's associates, photos of her at various locations with timestamps proving she'd been under surveillance. But the worst discovery was a folder labeled Insurance. Inside were dozens of fabricated photos, images of Emma apparently using drugs, doctored police reports claiming she'd been arrested for prostitution, fake medical records suggesting mental illness. None of it was real, but it all looked authentic enough to destroy her reputation and our family's standing in the community. This is what he was holding over her, Lisa said, her voice shaking with rage. He created a fake criminal history and threatened to release it if she contacted us. Another message appeared. The letter you received was bait. We needed to lure you here. Emma wrote dozens of real letters begging for help. We sent you the fake one demanding money. We knew her loving father would come running to save her, even if it meant paying blackmail. The cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. For 3 years, Emma had been trapped, not by her own choices, but by Tyler's elaborate web of manipulation and lies. While Lisa and I had been grieving the loss of our daughter, she'd been fighting for her freedom, desperate to come home. She never stopped loving us, Lisa sobbed. She was trying to protect us from his threats while begging for our help. My phone buzzed one final time. Loading dock, 5 minutes. Come alone or she dies. This was never about money. It was about revenge. You threw me out of your house 3 years ago. Now I'm taking your daughter forever. The truth crystallized with horrifying clarity. Tyler hadn't moved on after that Thanksgiving dinner. He'd spent 3 years planning this moment. Emma wasn't his girlfriend, she was his prisoner, and now he was using her as bait to complete his twisted vengeance against the father who dared to reject him.
The loading dock was a cavern of shadows and rusted metal, lit only by a single bulb hanging from the ceiling like a dying star. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing off concrete walls, knowing Lisa was watching from the car despite Tyler's demands. "Right on time, Dad." Tyler emerged from behind a shipping container, no longer the nervous kid who'd sat at our Thanksgiving table. 3 years in Las Vegas had hardened him into something cold and calculating. He wore an expensive suit now, gold chains catching the overhead light, but his eyes held the same entitled smirk that had enraged me that November night. "Where is she?" My voice echoed in the vast space. "Safe, for now." He gestured toward a metal staircase leading to an office overlooking the warehouse floor. "But first, we need to discuss terms." "You want money? Fine, name your price." Tyler laughed, the sound sharp and ugly. "This was never about money. This is about respect, about showing you what happens when someone thinks they're better than Tyler Russo." 2 other men stepped out of the shadows, muscle by the look of them, with the kind of scars that came from years of violence. My heart hammered against my ribs, but I forced myself to stay calm. "You destroyed my daughter's life because your feelings got hurt?" "Destroyed?" Tyler's smirk widened. "I gave her purpose. For 3 years, she's been useful, helping me identify other families like yours, wealthy, naive, full of themselves. Emma's got a gift for making people trust her." The implication hit me like a physical blow. You used her to target other families? Bait, you might say. Daddy's little princess, all sweet and innocent, perfect for drawing out protective parents with deep pockets. Tyler pulled out his phone, showing me photos of other young women, all blonde, all resembling Emma. She was my best recruiter until she got all moral and tried to run. Rage boiled up from somewhere deep in my chest, but before I could move, a sound from the office above made us all freeze. "Help me! Please, someone help me!" Emma's voice, weak but unmistakably alive. "Let me see her," I demanded. Tyler nodded to his men, who flanked me as we climbed the metal stairs. The office was small, cramped, with windows overlooking the warehouse floor, and there, tied to a chair in the corner, was my daughter. She looked so much older than the 19-year-old who'd walked out of our house. Her hair was shorter, her face thinner, but her green eyes were the same, and they were filled with tears when she saw me. "Dad, is it really you?" I started toward her, but Tyler grabbed my arm. "Not so fast. First, you're going to transfer $2 million to an offshore account. Then, you're going to sign papers saying Emma came to Vegas willingly, that everything that happened here was consensual." "I don't have $2 million. You'll get it. Mortgage the house, cash out retirement accounts, sell everything. You've got 72 hours. But as Tyler spoke, I noticed something. His men were looking nervous, checking their phones, glancing toward the windows. And then I heard it. Sirens in the distance, growing closer. What? Tyler started, but the warehouse doors burst open below us. "FBI! Everyone on the ground!" Marcus Chen's voice boomed through a megaphone as agents flooded the building. Tyler's face went white as he realized the trap he'd walked into. "You set me up," he snarled. "No," I said, finally understanding. "Marcus set you up. You thought you were playing me, but he's been playing you for 3 years." The next few minutes were chaos. Tyler and his men trying to run, FBI agents swarming the office, Emma crying as someone cut her restraints. But all I could focus on was holding my daughter for the first time in 3 years. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry I drove you away." "No, Dad." She pulled back to look at me, tears streaming down her face. "I wanted to come home. Every single day for 3 years, I wanted to come home. Tyler made me believe you'd never forgive me, that you and Mom were better off without me." "Never," I said fiercely. "Never, never, never. We've been waiting for you every day." As the FBI led Tyler away in handcuffs, he turned back to us one last time, his face twisted with hatred. "This isn't over. You think you won. But there are others. This network is bigger than you can imagine." But I barely heard him. Emma was in my arms, alive and safe, and Lisa was running up the stairs, sobbing as she joined our embrace. "I wrote you letters, hundreds of letters. I tried to call, tried to email." "We know. We saw them all. We know you never stopped trying to reach us. I just want to come home." And those 6 words healed 3 years of heartbreak in an instant. "Then let's go home. Let's all go home together."
6 months later, I was standing in our kitchen at 6:30 a.m., watching Emma make coffee the way she used to when she was 16. Too strong with too much sugar, humming off-key while she stirred. Some mornings I still woke up expecting the house to be empty, still caught myself listening for her footsteps on the stairs. 3 years of silence had left scars that healing couldn't erase overnight, but every day brought small miracles that reminded me how blessed we were to have her back. The reintegration hadn't been easy. Emma had nightmares for the first month, sometimes waking up screaming Tyler's name, convinced she was still trapped in that Vegas warehouse. Lisa would hold her while I made tea, and we'd all sit on the couch until sunrise, talking about everything and nothing until Emma felt safe enough to sleep again. She'd lost weight, lost some of her easy laughter, and there were moments when I'd catch her staring out windows with a haunted expression that broke my heart. But she was home, she was safe, and slowly, day by day, she was becoming herself again. "Dad, you're burning the bacon," Emma said, nudging me away from the stove with her hip, the same way she'd done as a teenager, like those 3 years had never happened. "Sorry, kiddo, lost in thought."
She smiled, and for a moment I saw the 19-year-old girl who'd walked out of our house that Thanksgiving night. Good thoughts or bad thoughts? Good, I said, meaning it. Always good when you're here. Emma had started college again. Online classes at first, then gradually moving to campus as she felt ready. She changed her major from business to social work, saying she wanted to help other girls who'd been trapped like she was. The strength it took for her to transform her trauma into purpose amazed me daily. She'd also been working with the FBI, helping them build cases against the trafficking network Tyler was a part of. Marcus Chen had become a regular visitor to our house, though now he came as Emma's friend, not as an undercover agent. Watching them together, I realized how much courage it had taken for both of them to maintain their cover for so long. The trial starts next month, Emma said quietly, refilling her coffee cup. Marcus says Tyler's lawyers are trying to make a deal, but the evidence is pretty overwhelming. I nodded, still struggling with the complex emotions Tyler's name brought up. Part of me wanted to hate him purely, but Emma had helped me understand that Tyler himself had been a victim once, recruited young, manipulated, turned into a predator by people who saw human lives as commodities. It didn't excuse what he'd done, but it made the anger more complicated. "How are you feeling about testifying?" I asked. "Scared," she admitted, "but ready. Other girls deserve justice too." That afternoon, Lisa and I were in the backyard raking leaves when Emma came outside carrying 3 cups of hot chocolate, a peace offering she'd started making whenever she wanted to talk about something serious. "I'd been thinking," she said, settling into the lawn chair between us, "about that Thanksgiving." Lisa and I exchanged glances. We'd talked about that night many times over the past 6 months, but always carefully, like walking around broken glass. "I was so angry at you, Dad. Not just because you didn't like Tyler, but because you didn't trust me. You didn't trust that I could see through someone who was lying to me." "I was right to be angry. I was controlling, judgmental, but you were also protecting me," Emma interrupted. "Tyler told me later that he'd been planning to isolate me from you and Mom from the beginning. If you hadn't thrown him out that night, if I'd stayed with him with your blessing, the manipulation would have been so much worse." I felt Lisa's hand find mine as Emma continued. "I spent 3 years hating you for giving me that ultimatum, but the truth is, you saw through him when I couldn't. Your pride might have driven me away, but it also saved me from falling deeper into his trap." Tears were running down Lisa's face now, and I felt my own eyes burning. "I'm still sorry," I said. "Sorry I made you choose. Sorry I was so stubborn. Sorry I lost 3 years with you because I couldn't swallow my pride. And I'm sorry I chose him over you, even though I didn't understand what I was really choosing." Emma reached for both our hands, linking the 3 of us together in a circle on our back patio, surrounded by autumn leaves and afternoon sunlight. "But we're here now," she said, "all of us, together." 2 weeks later, on Thanksgiving Day, Emma sat at our dinner table again. The same blue plate, the same chair, but everything different. Lisa had cooked Emma's favorite stuffing, and I'd managed not to burn the turkey. As we joined hands to say grace, Emma squeezed my fingers tight. "Thank you," she whispered, and I knew she wasn't just talking about the meal. "Thank you," I whispered back, meaning every word. Outside, snow was beginning to fall, covering our world in clean, white possibility. Inside, our family was whole again, and that was everything. Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts on this. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on more exciting content like this one. See you in the next one.